Jasmine Crockett turns the tables in controversial trial, and the judge is forced to recuse himself. Int. Federal Courthouse. Courtroom day. The imposing courtroom buzzes with tension. Camera flashes illuminate the ornate wood paneling as reporters and spectators fill every available seat. This is no ordinary hearing. Jasmine Crockett, 38, commanding in a perfectly tailored navy blue suit, sits at the defense table reviewing documents with focused intensity. Her natural hair is styled in a sleek updo that frames her striking features. Everything about her radiates confidence, intelligence, and determination. The bailiff calls the court to order. Bailiff. All rise. The Honorable Judge, William Montgomery presiding. Judge Montgomery, 65, white-haired and stern, enters and takes his seat. His cold gaze sweeps across the courtroom, lingering a beat too long on Jasmine before addressing the court. Judge Montgomery, be seated. We're here today in the case of United States versus Garrison Industries. Counsel, are you prepared to proceed? Jasmine rises smoothly to her feet. Jasmine Crockett, representing the whistleblower, Anthony Perez. We are ready, Your Honor. Across the aisle, a team of 5 corporate lawyers in expensive suits sit behind Richard Garrison, 60, CEO of Garrison Industries, and the very picture of entitled wealth. His lead attorney, Jonathan Price, 55, stands. Price. Jonathan Price for Garrison Industries. We are prepared, Your Honor. Judge Montgomery. Very well. Ms. Crockett, your opening statement. Jasmine moves to address the jury, her posture relaxed yet authoritative. Jasmine, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is about corruption at the highest levels, about powerful men who believe the rules don't apply to them, about a company that knowingly dumped toxic chemicals into the water supply of River Junction for 15 years. Price jumps to his feet. Price. Objection. Your Honor. Counsel is making inflammatory statements without evidence. Judge Montgomery. Sustained. Mrs. Crockett. Save the theatrics. Jasmine doesn't miss a beat. Jasmine. What we will prove beyond any doubt is that Garrison Industries was aware their chemical disposal methods were causing cancer rates in River Junction to skyrocket, that they falsified safety reports, that they bribed officials, and that when my client, Anthony Perez, discovered these crimes and tried to report them, they destroyed his career and threatened his family. She gestures to Anthony Perez, 42, a former environmental engineer sitting behind her, looking nervous but determined. Jasmine. Mr. Perez didn't want to be a hero. He just wanted to do what was right. For that, he lost everything. Int. Courthouse hallway. Later, Jasmine speaks with reporters clustered around her. Jasmine. The evidence will speak for itself. Nobody is above the law, not even Richard Garrison. Behind her, unnoticed, Garrison whispers to Judge Montgomery at the end of the hall before they both disappear into a private chamber. Reporter. Ms. Crockett. Sources say you've received death threats since taking this case. Are you concerned for your safety? Jasmine, with a confident smile. Justice doesn't come to those who wait safely on the sidelines. It comes to those brave enough to stand in the fire. Int. Jasmine's office. Night. Jasmine works late, surrounded by stacks of documents. Her assistant, Marcus, 30, enters with coffee. Marcus, you know it's almost midnight, right? Jasmine, not looking up. Justice doesn't sleep, so neither do I. Marcus, there's something else. I got this from my contact at the courthouse. He hands her a folder. Jasmine opens it, her expression hardening as she reads. Jasmine, Montgomery denied our motion to admit the water test results. Without those, we can't prove contamination. Marcus, that's the 3rd ruling he's made against us this week. It's like he's not even pretending to be impartial. Jasmine, thoughtful. Or maybe he's not trying to hide it. Maybe he wants us to see. Marcus, see what? Jasmine, that the game is rigged. She stands, pacing, mind racing. Jasmine, pull every case Montgomery has presided over involving Garrison Industries or any of its subsidiaries. And I want everything you can find on Montgomery's financial records. Marcus, you think he's compromised? Jasmine, I think we're about to find out. Int. Courtroom. Day. Jasmine cross-examines Harold Simmons, Garrison's Chief Operations Officer. Jasmine, Mr. Simmons, was it standard practice at Garrison to alter safety inspection reports? Simmons, nervously, Absolutely not. We value safety above all else. Jasmine, then perhaps you can explain this internal memo dated June 15th, where you instructed your team to, and I quote, sanitize the findings before submission to the EPA. She displays the document on the courtroom screen. Simmons pales. Simmons, that's taken out of context. Jasmine, is it? Let's provide some context then. She moves to the evidence table, but Judge Montgomery interrupts. Judge Montgomery, Ms. Crockett, approach the bench. At the bench, out of jury earshot, Judge Montgomery, quietly menacing. You're treading on thin ice, you counselor. These theatrical displays won't be tolerated in my courtroom. Jasmine, with all due respect, Your Honor, presenting evidence isn't theatrical, it's literally my job. Judge Montgomery, watch yourself, Ms. Crockett. You won't like what happens if you push me. Jasmine holds his gaze, unflinching. Jasmine, is that a threat, Your Honor? Judge Montgomery, coldly. It's a reminder of who's in charge here. Back at the questioning. Jasmine, Mr. Simmons, did you personally approve the chemical disposal procedures that sent industrial waste into the River Junction water supply? Price, objection, assumes facts not in evidence. Judge Montgomery, sustained. Jasmine, let me rephrase. Mr. Simmons, who approved the waste disposal protocols at the River Junction facility. That would have been the environmental compliance team. Jasmine, and who headed that team? Simmons, reluctantly. I did. Jasmine, and did you review the toxicity reports showing dangerous levels of hexavalent chromium in those waste products? Simmons, shifting uncomfortably. I review hundreds of reports. Jasmine, please answer the question. Mr. Simmons. Price, objection, badgering the witness. Judge Montgomery, sustained. Jasmine pauses, then changes tactics. Jasmine, Mr. Simmons, do you know Anthony Perez? Simmons, he was an engineer in my department. Jasmine, and was he fired after raising concerns about the chemical disposal methods? Simmons, he was terminated for performance issues. Jasmine, interesting, because I have his performance reviews right here. She holds up a document. Jasmine, exceeds expectations in all categories. That was just 2 weeks before he reported the contamination. Then suddenly he has performance issues. INT. Courthouse bathroom, later. Jasmine splashes water on her face. The door opens and Diana Patterson, 45, a well-dressed black woman, enters. Diana, impressive performance in there. Jasmine, guarded, thank you. And you are? Diana Patterson, EPA Regional Director. Surprised. The EPA has shown remarkably little interest in this case. Director Patterson. Diana, lowering her voice. Not everyone at the EPA is looking the other way. Some of us have been building a case against Garrison for years. She hands Jasmine a flash drive. Diana, this contains soil samples from properties surrounding the River Junction plant. Tests the EPA conducted, but never made public. Jasmine, why are you giving me this? Diana, because you might be the only person brave enough to actually use it. Int. Jasmine's apartment, night. Jasmine sits at her kitchen table, reviewing the EPA data on her laptop. Her phone rings. Jasmine, hello? A digitally altered voice responds. Voice, distorted. Drop the Garrison case if you want to stay healthy. Jasmine, who is this? Voice, someone who knows where you live. 1242, Parkview Avenue. Would be a shame if something happened to it. Or nice place. Jasmine looks toward her window, suddenly aware of how visible she is. Jasmine, you don't scare me. Voice, we should. We own this town. We own the judge. And if you don't back off, you'll regret it. The call ends. Jasmine stares at her phone, then dials. Jasmine, Marcus, I need you to come over and bring your camera. Courtroom I think we need to document a few things. Jasmine questions Linda Graham, a former Garrison accountant. Jasmine, Missy Graham, can you explain these payments made to Oceanic Holdings? She displays bank records on the screen. Linda, those were consultant fees. Jasmine, consultant fees. Monthly payments of exactly $25,000 for 3 years. Did Oceanic Holdings provide reports for their consulting work? Linda, hesitantly, I don't recall. Jasmine, isn't it true that Oceanic Holdings is a shell company registered in the Cayman Islands? Price, objection, relevance. Jasmine. Goes to pattern of financial deception. Your Honor. Judge Montgomery. Irritated. I'll allow it, but tread carefully. Ms. Crockett. Jasmine. Ms. Graham. Who owns Oceanic Holdings? Linda. I don't know. Jasmine. Let me help you. Oceanic Holdings is owned by Westlake Partners, which is owned by Montgomery Family Investments. Judge Montgomery's face darkens. Judge Montgomery. Miss Crockett. Approach the bench immediately. At the bench. Judge Montgomery. Furious. What do you think you're doing? Jasmine. Establishing that you have a significant financial conflict of interest in this case. Your Honor. Judge Montgomery. Seething. This line of questioning is inappropriate and irrelevant. I'm striking it from the record. Jasmine. With respect, Your Honor, if you've been receiving payments from the defendant through a shell company, that's hardly irrelevant. Judge Montgomery. You are dangerously close to contempt, Counselor. Jasmine. And you're dangerously close to judicial misconduct. I'm formally requesting your recusal from this case. Judge Montgomery. Denied. Return to your table. Back at the defense table, Marcus leans forward and whispers to Jasmine. Marcus. Plan B. Jasmine nods. Int. Courthouse steps. Evening. A crowd of reporters surrounds Jasmine as she makes a statement. Jasmine. Today, I'm filing a formal complaint with the Judicial Conduct Committee regarding Judge William Montgomery's handling of the Garrison Industries case. Evidence suggests a clear financial relationship between the judge and the defendant. She holds up documents. Jasmine. These records show that Judge Montgomery has received over $2 million through a carefully disguised network of shell companies, all leading back to Garrison Industries. Reporter. Are you alleging judicial corruption? Jasmine. I'm stating facts. The public can draw their own conclusions. Int. Social media montage. A rapid-fire sequence shows Jasmine's press conference going viral. Twitter explodes with their corrupt court and justice for River Junction trending. News chyrons read, Judicial misconduct allegations rock Garrison trial, and attorney claims judge on corporate payroll. Int. Judge Montgomery's chambers. Next morning, Montgomery watches the news coverage on his computer, face contorted with rage. His clerk enters. Clerk. Judge. There are reporters everywhere, and the chief judge wants to speak with you immediately. Montgomery slams his laptop shut. Int. Courthouse hallway. Day Jasmine walks through metal detectors. Security is visibly increased. She notices Marcus waiting for her, looking worried. Marcus. You've stirred up a hornet's nest. Jasmine. Good. Sometimes you need to shake the tree to see what falls out. Marcus. Garrison's people are saying you fabricated evidence. They're calling for sanctions against you. Jasmine. Of course they are. It means we hit a nerve. They turn a corner to find a crowd gathered outside the courtroom. Marcus. There's something else. Montgomery's son was just arrested. Jasmine. What? For what? Marcus. Possession with intent to distribute. Apparently, someone sent an anonymous tip to the DEA about his drug dealing operation. Jasmine. Genuinely surprised. That had nothing to do with me. Marcus. Maybe not, but it's adding fuel to the fire. Montgomery's enemies are coming out of the woodwork. Courtroom NT. The courtroom is packed to capacity. Jasmine sits at the defense table, composed despite the chaos around her. The bailiff calls for order as a different judge enters. Bailiff. All rise. The Honorable Judge Elena Rodriguez presiding. Judge Rodriguez, 50s, takes the bench, her expression stern. Judge Rodriguez, be seated. In light of the serious allegations that have been raised, Judge Montgomery has recused himself from this case. I will be taking over effective immediately. Murmurs sweep through the courtroom. Garrison and his attorneys look shaken. Judge Rodriguez, I have reviewed the case files, and I'm deeply concerned by several of the previous rulings. Ms. Crockett, your motion to admit the water test results is granted. Furthermore, I'm ordering a full review of all evidence previously excluded. Price jumps to his feet. Price. Your Honor, we object to this disruption of proceedings. These unsubstantiated allegations against Judge Montgomery are clearly a desperate ploy by the defense to Judge Rodriguez, cutting him off. Mr. Price, my decision is final, and I would advise you to choose your next words very carefully. This court will not tolerate any attempt to impede these proceedings further. For the first time, Jasmine allows herself a small smile. Int. Witness stand. Later, Anthony Perez testifies, his voice growing stronger as he speaks. Anthony, I found the altered test results in the company database. They had two versions, the real ones showing dangerous contamination levels, and the fake ones they submitted to regulators. Jasmine, and what happened when you reported this to your superiors? Anthony, first they offered me a promotion to keep quiet. When I refused, they fired me. Then the threats started. My house was broken into, my children were followed to school. Someone cut my brake lines. Jasmine, did you report these incidents to the police? Anthony, yes, but nothing happened. It was like they were protected. She displays police reports on the screen. Jasmine, each of these reports was filed and then mysteriously closed without investigation. Can you identify the officer who took your reports? Anthony, pointing. That signature there, Officer James Montgomery. Jasmine, any relation to Judge William Montgomery? Anthony, his son. The courtroom erupts in shocked whispers. Int. Courthouse cafeteria. Lunch break. Jasmine sits alone, reviewing notes. Richard Garrison approaches her table. Garrison, impressive work. Counselor, you've got quite the flair for the dramatic. Jasmine, without looking up. Mr. Garrison, I suggest you speak to me through your attorney. Garrison, sitting uninvited. I wanted to talk to you personally, to make you an offer. Jasmine, I'm not for sale. Everyone has a price, Mrs. Crockett. Yours is just higher than most. $10 million for your client, another $5 for you, disguised as a consulting fee. Now Jasmine looks up, her gaze icy. Jasmine, you really don't get it, do you? This isn't about money. Garrison, laughing, it's always about money. Jasmine, no, it's about justice. It's about the 43 children in River Junction diagnosed with leukemia. It's about the families who lost everything because you wanted to save a few dollars on proper waste disposal. She stands to leave. Jasmine, and for the record, I'm recording this conversation. She reveals her phone, recording app active. Garrison's face falls. Jasmine, that's the problem with men like you. You're so used to buying people that you can't recognize when you've met someone who isn't for sale. N.T. Courtroom. Day Jasmine delivers her closing argument to the jury. Jasmine, ladies and gentlemen, over the past 3 weeks, you've seen the evidence, the contaminated water, the falsified reports, the cover-up that reached into the highest levels of our justice system. She walks closer to the jury box. Jasmine, Garrison Industries had a choice. They could have disposed of their waste safely. It would have cost them an extra $7 million a year, less than 3% of their annual profits. Instead, they chose to poison an entire community. She gestures to the gallery where families from River Junction sit. Jasmine, look at these families. Their children are sick. Their homes are worthless. Their lives have been shattered. All because Richard Garrison decided that his profit margin was more important than their lives. She turns toward Garrison. Jasmine, and when caught, rather than take responsibility, they tried to rig the system. They tried to buy a judge. They threatened a whistleblower. They threatened me. She returns to the jury. Jasmine, but here's what they didn't count on. They didn't count on Anthony Perez having the courage to stand up. They didn't count on the families of River Junction refusing to be silenced. And they didn't count on you. 12 ordinary citizens with the power to say enough. She pauses, looking each juror in the eye. Jasmine, today, you have the chance to show that in America, justice is not for sale, that no corporation, no matter how wealthy or powerful, is above the law, that the lives of ordinary people matter. Int. Courtroom. Verdict day. The courtroom is silent as the jury files in. The foreperson hands a slip of paper to Judge Rodriguez. Judge Rodriguez, has the jury reached a verdict? Foreperson, we have, Your Honor. Judge Rodriguez, on the count of criminal negligence, how do you find? Foreperson, we find the defendant, Garrison Industries, guilty. Judge Rodriguez, on the count of environmental violations? Foreperson, guilty. Judge Rodriguez, on the count of obstruction of justice? Foreperson, guilty. With each, guilty, the River Junction families embrace, some breaking into tears. Garrison stares straight ahead, his face hardening. Judge Rodriguez. The jury has also recommended punitive damages in the amount of $1.2 billion to be paid to the victims and for environmental remediation of River Junction. She turns to Garrison. Judge Rodriguez. Mr. Garrison, you will remain in custody pending sentencing for your role in these crimes. Bailiff, please take the defendant into custody. As Garrison is led away, he glares at Jasmine with pure hatred. Courthouse steps. Later, Jasmine stands with Anthony and the River Junction families, surrounded by reporters. Reporter, Ms. Crockett, how does it feel to win such a landmark case? Jasmine, this wasn't my victory. This belongs to Anthony Perez, who risked everything to tell the truth, to the families of River Junction, who never gave up fighting, and to every person who believes that justice matters. She puts her arm around a young girl, 10, wearing a headscarf to cover hair loss from chemotherapy. Jasmine, Sophie here can now get the treatment she needs. The water in River Junction will be cleaned up, and a powerful message has been sent. No one is untouchable. Reporter, what about Judge Montgomery? Will he face charges? Jasmine, that's for the Judicial Conduct Committee to decide. But I believe that anyone who abuses their position of trust should be held accountable, no matter who they are. Anthony steps forward. Anthony, I just want to say, when I first blew the whistle, I felt so alone. I thought one person couldn't make a difference against a company like Garrison. Then Jasmine took my case when no one else would. She taught me that one person standing up for what's right can change everything. Jasmine. And that's the message I hope people take from this case. The system isn't perfect. Sometimes it's rigged against the little guy. But if we have the courage to stand up, to speak truth to power, we can still find justice. She looks directly into the camera. Jasmine, to anyone watching who sees wrongdoing, who faces intimidation, who believes they can't win against the powerful, remember this day. Remember River Junction, and find the courage to stand up. Prison visiting room. Weeks later, Jasmine sits across from Judge Montgomery, now wearing prison orange. His face is haggard, his eyes hollow. Montgomery, why are you here? Come to gloat. Jasmine, no. I came to ask you why. You had everything, respect, position, power. Why risk it all? Montgomery, bitter laugh. You still don't get it, do you? This is how the world works. The powerful take care of their own. The people you were sworn to protect. Jasmine, Montgomery, and the rest of us. Collateral damage. Besides, it was just some poor neighborhood no one cared about. Jasmine, I cared. Anthony cared. And in the end, the jury cared. Montgomery, leaning forward. You think you've won? Garrison has 10 other companies just like this one. There are 100 judges like me. The game is rigged, and your little victory changes nothing. Jasmine stands, looking down at him. That's where you're wrong. Each time someone speaks up, each time corruption is exposed, the world changes a little. Maybe not all at once, but bit by bit. She turns to leave. Jasmine, enjoy your new accommodations, Judge. I hear the water here isn't great either. Jasmine's office, night. Jasmine packs up her things. Her phone rings, unknown number. Jasmine, hello?